Hey, this is Nicolosi, and in this video I'm going to highlight what's new in Mela 7.4. We're going to focus on the new mod steps module, which is a very powerful modulator sequencer, and you will see why by the end of this video. Okay, I'm running Logic Pro on my Mac with Mela inserted as an instrument, but of course you can run Mela on your iPhone or iPad or inside your favorite DAW. I have a slightly modified default preset here, and I've inserted mod steps, mod oscilloscope to let us visualize our mod step signal, and simple LFO, which will be using it to demonstrate mod steps feature. Okay, let's modulate our frequency parameter. And if we play a note, we're not yet hearing any effects of our mod step sequencer. It's because all of its steps are set to 0. So let's make the length of our sequence slightly shorter, and let's set some steps to non-zero values. And we can now visualize our modulation signal using the mod oscilloscope module. So let's hear what this sounds like. Of course, we can adjust the sync parameter to play back the sequence at different rates. We can also enable the retrigger parameter to retrigger the sequence on every note on event. And we can limit number of cycles. Let's set it to 1. Okay, let's set this back to their default values. The mod steps module becomes even more interesting when you dynamically adjust its parameters. Let's set length to 1 and modulate it using our simple LFO. Now the pattern is evolving, so if I play it, we hear the pattern changes over time. Of course, we can adjust these values to make it even more interesting. Another very useful mode is the free mode. By setting the sync parameter to free, we can disable mod steps internal clock. So instead, we need to use the start parameter to adjust the current step. But of course, doing it manually is less interesting. So let's modulate it. What's interesting about this modulation is that sequence goes forward and back. And also, it's not even because it has a sinusoidal shape. We can change it to peak to have even forward and backwards movements, or we can set it to ramp up if you want to have the standard forward movement, or ramp down to go backwards. Of course, you can experiment with different LFO shapes or different modulators. You can even modulate one mod step using another one. Okay, let's disable our LFO and set this back to their default values. The one parameter that we haven't discussed yet is the mode parameter. It makes the module even more flexible because with different modes, the module is optimized for different use cases. For example, if we set it to MIDI, values now are presented in a 0 to 127 value, and it's still in unipolar. Then we have a bipolar option, and then we have pitch options. With pitch, values are displayed as shifts in semitone. So you can use this as a note sequencer or use it to modulate, say, relative pitch to sequence pitch changes. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about these modes. Instead, I'm going to show you a ready-made example. And to do that, I'm going to introduce you to another feature in this version, and that's Parts Factory Preset Group. It currently contains only 3 presets, but it will expand over time. You can think of these presets as reusable building blocks, which you can insert in your presets to speed up preset building process. So let's take the note sequencer and drop it into our preset. It consists of 3 mod steps instances, all of which are modulating the parameters of the note pulse module. Note pulse, of course, is a module that generates pulses at regular intervals. The note instance is modulating the note parameter, so it can change the currently generated note. Velocity is modulating the velocity parameter. When it's 0, the module stops generating any notes, and when it's non-zero, it generates notes with a set velocity value. And finally, we have the gate instance, which is modulating the gate parameter, so we can adjust the length of each note. I'm going to press play in Logic, and let's hear our sequence. But of course, we can get creative and adjust different values, like we can adjust start, length, or sync parameter, and we can get interesting evolving chords, because then all the sequencers will no longer be in lockstep with each other. They'll be playing different steps with different sync values. Let's try it out. I hope this video convinced you that Mod Steps is a very powerful module. It can be used and abused all sorts of ways. I spent the last few weeks trying to tweak every little detail to get it right, and it will continue to evolve, obviously. But I'm very excited about it, and let me know what you think. Thank you, and see you next time.